Welcome to today's video, and we are going to update this list right here. Yes, it's been a long time since we've done it. It's about 3 months, and honestly, we've played through an entire season. We're playing through this season. We've had a load of testing, and we're going to update this for you guys. So this is going to be the complete hero tier list, in my opinion, on the best heroes that you can invest into and best, basically, heroes within their roles in Call of Dragons. So let's go over it today together. Get your popcorn. It's going to be a long one. Hello, welcome. Yes, we're going to be updating the tier list from the beginning. So you saw it there. If you wanted to go back and check it, maybe take a screenshot. You can see how this new tier list is going to go through, and I'm going to obviously go through each hero on the tier list. I'm going to go through a quick blitz of heroes right at the beginning just to get them out of the way, but once we've done that, we are going to go into everything. But this is the tier list for free-to-play, low spenders, and big spenders. I'm just going to try and give you all an honest review where if you're looking at end game, this is where they're going to be. So we're going to go straight away and clean up some of the basic stuff. We've got to see the farm, build, specialist, and ignore ones, which we're going to use straight away. Personally, I would ignore heroes like Bahkshi, and someone like Alistair I would put in the specialist role for anyone that is a free-to-play or maybe a new player looking to play only cavalry. If you're one of those guys that want to be only running 4 or 5 cavalry marches in the open field, you're gonna obviously want to unlock and obviously work on Alistair. But apart from that, I wouldn't work on him. I just think as more players play the game, you're gonna open gold keys, and those gold keys are just gonna get you commanders. Honestly, at 5111, that do beat an awakened Alistair. We did the test a long time ago, a few months back, so we know how strong he is. So I wouldn't rely on that. We've also got our farm builder, as well as your, order. Any of your farmers are all going to go into this farm build. But one hero I'm going to leave out is Indis. I'm actually going to talk about her for once. We're going to actually rate Indis on this, and hopefully she might get even better over time. But the last hero to clean up is the specialist Eliana. Yes, no matter what you are, you will most likely level up your Eliana to level 40 only. So all you need to do now, because of the season resets, level 30, pump your XP quickly, get her to level 40, and guess what? Your Eliana Garwood is ready to cook. And if you've got a boring season ahead, but you need merits to get, obviously, those goodies to give yourself, the resources, free elixir healing for later on maybe, you're going to need her. So just get to level 40. That's a specialist role. She'll never leave that role because she is one of the best heroes in the entire game at actually merit farming for your account. So what we've got left is four or five actual epic heroes. I'm going to give them their actual ratings, and then we will adjust the rating table. So quickly, while Theia is the best hero for anyone in the game, I think if you're a free-to-play low spender looking at epic heroes, it's obvious. He is basically almost like the Sun Tzu from Rise of Kingdoms in this game. He does a nice bit of area of effect damage. He also is very tanky. He gives you really good stats that you need. He just has everything. Even the free skill trees he has, or talent trees he can pick from, which is the magic, PvP, and skill tree. Amazing, right? So he's definitely an S+ hero. I'm going to put Guan Wen in the A tier. And the reason why I'm putting her in the A tier is because she is a fantastic starting hero. She is going to be the best starting, I would say, hero in the game, because early game there's not many wars. I'm not going to lie, there isn't that many wars. It's all about behemoth raiding. And you really do need those archer players to kill the behemoth guys. Don't ignore them. And you will, and I promise you, you will unlock a mage march, because there's not that many mages in the game. It's very fast to do it, I promise. So I would put her in any higher, but the problem is she isn't that great in PvP. She's okay, don't get me wrong, she's okay, and she does an okay job early game, but she is very quickly outperformed. And I think a one that outperforms her is Craig. Craig, when you awaken this hero compared to her, is obscene. Especially the fact that with Craig, you can actually skill this hero 5-5-5-1. Very easy to do in this game. You don't have to worry about it. You're going to be cooking. And as soon as you get that 4th skill done, guess what? You'll get the biggest payoff out of any of the heroes. Because honestly, if you look at the area of effect damage plus the bleed on the area of effect damage, add it all up compared to any of the other epic heroes, Craig does the most skill damage in the game on epics. I'm just going to be honest with you, right? So it is obscene how good this hero is, but the problem, as you know, is a marksman. So he will suffer because of the range, right? And that's why while Theia is a little bit better for newer players and stuff, and why people prefer him because of the range advantage. And the cool thing is with this is we've got Atheist, and I'm going to put Alwyn both in the S tier. I think all of these heroes, honestly, are good heroes. Because when you have Atheist, you have access to a Flying Mage March. Or if you're not running Flying Mages, guess what? You can still run something like Wild Deer and Atheist, and it's an actually rage generation march. It's all about actually generating rage as fast as possible and rage cycling, which is a different talent build compared to what you would normally run. Or you can do what everyone runs, which is, if we put them in the correct order here, Alwyn. Alwyn with Waldia is honestly the most match-made, free-to-play friendly like pairing in the game. You will never go wrong with this. It gives you an amazing amount of tanking stats, you have an amazing amount of damage, it does everything you need a mage match to do, and it's all epics. It's all epics, guys, right? So that's going to be like the proper free-to-play roles there, but now we're going to start addressing it with the legendary heroes. So now if we're going to think about these now comparatively to a legendary hero, I'm actually going to put Gwanwyn down into the C tier, because I'm not going to lie, as soon as you hit Season 2, which this tier list is all about, you will get access to 2 different archers, and if you just get one of them, I promise you, they will outperform your Gwanwyn even at 5-1-1-1-1 or 5-5-1-1-1. You can choose however much you want to invest. They will outperform her. So that is where we're going to drop her down. We're going to drop Alwyn actually into the A category. The Atheist... Oh no, actually the Alwyn into the B category. And the Atheist and the Craig into the A category, because they are actually still great heroes. The thing is with our Alwyn, which you're going to see, he does get replaced by the legendary heroes, and the reason why we keep Atheist higher is again because of one of the legendary hero pairings, which we'll discuss in a moment. And then our Waldea is going to drop down honestly into the S tier. He's a fantastic hero. He's a borderline legendary hero, I'm not going to lie. If he just legit had 300 more damage on his main skill, people would just say he's a legendary hero. That's how good he is. So let's be real, right? So now we're in the best part. This is where we're going to start putting the legendary heroes on the list. We've got the brand new heroes as well, which we're going to go through as we reach them. But the first hero we're going to talk about is going to be Cavalry. Yes, it's going to be the one and only here, Bahkshi. So Bahkshi is going to be the first hero we're talking about, and I am going to rate him, honestly, as ruthless as I can. And I'm going to be honest with you, Bahkshi is an amazing hero. He's such a goddamn good hero, but the problem with Bahkshi, when you look at the longevity on how Call of Dragons is, it's a game that you play over a long period of time. Obviously, more heroes come out, which will replace older heroes. So you need to try and think ahead of the time. And the problem is with Bahkshi is he has a skill here that is basically useless on open field combat. And when you even awaken him, I'm not going to lie, it's not much of a payoff. It really is not much of a payoff in the game for the amount of sculptures that you have wasted basically maxing out this dead skill to get 10% extra HP and 100 extra damage. I'm just going to be honest with you, it's just not. But for the whales, they need it, right? It's a different story for the whales because they need to be operating at maximum like stats in order to beat the other whales, right? But with all of that, I hope that makes sense when we go into the rating. because I'm going to put him in the A category. And as you can imagine, every legendary hero that we place here is better than any epic hero, unless I give a different reason, right? But the legendary heroes here, we've got definitely our Bahkshi in the A category, because he's a fantastic hero, but I honestly don't think you should be investing too many sculptures into him. There's going to be better cavalry heroes you can invest into, and in the future, I think he's just going to fall out of line. I honestly do. I've got that sad feeling in my stomach that's going to be it. Going on with cavalry though, we're going to finish with the Emrys. He's one of the new older heroes again, but Emrys is the opposite. Emrys is an S tier hero, and he could be arguably S plus, but I just don't think he is, because he just has honestly no defensiveness. If he had some sort of defensive stat, I would honestly give him it. But when we look at Emrys, like we just did with our beautiful Bahkshi here, you're going to be able to notice that Emrys has 3 amazing talent trees already. Mobility, PvP, Cavalry. We can use all of these, right? But then with Emrys, we also have 4 skills, and each skill is relevant. It doesn't matter what scenario you are in, you're gonna get access to all of these skills. Why? Because the way cavalries always operate, they don't solo a march. They always try to swarm down a march with other cavalry to get them killed as fast as possible and use that unyielding rush to their advantage. And that's where you get even just pure maximum effectiveness on this hero. So I can imagine in the future Emrys with another hero that has 4 amazing stat lines like this, but has a more tanking, role, will make Emrys and that guy honestly probably the best cavalry match in the game, because he is an insane hero. The amount of damage he pumps out is unmatched when you get him fully awakened. He is just such a fun hero too, because he's cavalry. So I would honestly recommend this hero. If you are looking for cavalry, this is the one guy in the olden days that you would still be using in the S2 days, and you're going to be happy as rain with him, right? So now let's go into some other heroes, right? Let's start filling up some slots, and we're going to talk about Nico. And Nico in the original intro was an A-star, or an A-class hero. And I'm not going to lie, I might actually drop him down into the B category now. The one thing I've learned with Nico, and I've been using Nico a lot, and I am an archer main, and this is the one thing I've honestly lived and breathed the most, and he's one of my favorite heroes in the entire game, just because I love this ginger afro in the model design. But the problem I have with Nico is he's a fantastic early game hero, and that's what I think that's the problem is. He's a fantastic early game hero, and he's good when he's awakened. That's it. And that's the problem with Nico. So when you get Nico, a 5-1-1-1 Nico is amazing. And if you don't have any other hero, to be honest, Nico is going to be the guy that you're always going to be using until you get a better archer hero. I like the stats, they're okay, but the thing is, what makes him actually powerful is when he's awakened, and you have this passive skill when you have an 80% chance of just dealing skill damage if their defense broken, which is powerful because you obviously defense break them as a hero. But when we look at other heroes, I'm going to be honest, it's the same as Bahkshi, but a little bit worse, where I just think that other archer heroes, I feel just infinitely better than Nico. Let's just be real. Let's just be honest. And we can show this, right? We can show this with even the newer heroes. So let's go into Syndrion first. Syndrion, I'm not gonna lie, in my eyes, is gonna be one of the first, as we're gonna put him on, S plus heroes in the entire game. This guy is obscenely powerful for what he does, because he has such a simple kit, but he does that kit to perfection, because he is all about dealing as much single target damage, and that is what archers are known for. And the power of doing that means if you are going against heroes like a Kinnara or other heroes that reduce hero skill damage taken reduction, right, it doesn't matter because Syndrion isn't doing hero skill damage. He's doing normal hits and he's hitting you double the amount of time and he's doing it consistently throughout the fight, and which is so goddamn strong in Call of Dragons. And when we go into, like I say, the ratings here, we're going to put definitely Syndrion in the S+ category for one of the best archer heroes, hands down, in the game. I'm going to put Ffraegar, and we're going to talk about her, in the S tier. Basically, I've switched them around. And that's all I've done. All I've done is switch them around. I honestly think every player could argue till the end of Earth that Syndrion's better than Ffraegar, or Ffraegar's better than Syndrion, for different reasons. And the reason is because they have different roles in the game, which you need to remember. So when we look at the magnificent Ffraegar, she does the same kind of deal where she's trying to increase your normal attack damage by increasing the normal attack critical damage bonus, which is very, very powerful in this game. But the true actual power of Ffraegar is in the 4th skill. The 4th skill, reducing the enemy's rage accumulation speed by 20%, is key. Because it means in duels, in murder balls, if you're targeting the right person, you are honestly making them die so much faster because they're not able to either do their AoE damage. They're not able to maybe use their single target skill. Maybe they're not able to use their tank's shield or Garwood's heal to heal through that, damage. And that's because you reduce the accumulation speed, which is so goddamn strong in the game. But some would argue the damage output from Syndrion is just far superior. But we will be the ones to judge in the next maybe few months when we update this tier list again. But the one thing you've got to remember with Ffraegar, compared to Syndrion, Ffraegar does have every skill which is tailored to something. So when you awaken her, even though the awakening is not great, it's just 200 extra damage. I'm not going to lie, it's nothing massive, right? It's the fact that you've already got all of the bonus because of all the stats you've got. But when you look at Syndrion, you lose that because of the stronghold on skills too, right? But the amount of damage he pumps out is insane. Let's just be real, guys. It's just insane, right? This guy's hitting you left, right, and center like a minigun. So that's why we've gone and updated the tier list from where we were to where it is at right now, right? So I hope you guys have been enjoying this new style of video on how I do a tier list, and hopefully now in the future when we do the next tier list, maybe you come back to this one and you watch how we go through all the heroes, and then you can come back into the newer one, and then it won't be as time heavy. So let's go into some of the infantry heroes. We're going to go straight away, and we're not going to replace her. She's still S+. I'm not even going to bring her up. You guys should know. Madeline is hands down the best tank hero in the entire game. She has the best free tank talent trees in the game you can choose from. She also has an insanely powerful kit where everything works which you want. Her awakening skill is even better because then you also get damage reduction, which is even more powerful. So you just get so much from this one hero. It is insane. She is the best tank in the game, hands down. And the funny thing is, and we'll put him here originally in my old tier list in Season 1 and that, Garwood was honestly a C tier hero. He wasn't really used because of the way the open field was, because it was really open. But now in Season 2, it's a lot more chokehold heavy. And being chokehold heavy is actually a really good thing for super tanks, because that means they get to excel at what they want to do, which is tank damage. And that's what you kind of needed to do in Season 2+. And because of that, don't worry guys, I am going to put him into the S tier. I think Garwood is an exceptionally goddamn good hero. Even with the, again, the rally or garrison skill for now, he's a gold key commander you're going to earn very easily and level up. And when we look at him in game, the reason why he's so just really, really good is because of the fact that his whole kit synergizes together. So you have a 1200 troop healing factor, which is great, with a 20% damage taken reduction for 4 seconds. That is insane. The amount of damage this guy takes is absurd. But the crazy thing about which I like, and a lot of people have found to love as well with the hero, is the fact when you do heal, you got to remember you're gaining that 30% physical and damage bonus, which is really cool. And obviously when you awaken him, you are now increasing your healing amount by 40%, and then you get a 6-second buff, which is insane. 6 seconds of taking 20% less damage. So that's why he's actually such a good tank hero. Even when he's awakened, after you've gotten rid through this, and I'm not gonna lie, maybe use him for your city walls, but I wouldn't recommend it. But for most players, a 5, like you can see, mine's 5-2, 4-2. And my tanks so much damage is absurd how much damage this hero tanks. And that's what you want in Season 2 Plus. So that's why he is in the S category, with Madeline being S+. She, in my opinion, just outperforms him in the categories. That I'm just going to be honest with you. But we'll do the 2 new infantry heroes, because we've got the 2 new infantry heroes, and you're probably wondering where they are. And I'm going to put Goresh in the A tier, and I'm going to obviously put him in really high, and I'm going to put Skogul in the same. I'm going to put both heroes in the exact same, because in my opinion, I actually do like both heroes. I think they're really good heroes for infantry, but the problem is the current meta doesn't fulfill their needs. Does that mean they're a bad hero? No, that does not mean they're a bad hero. It just means the meta does not fit them right now, which is okay. It's okay for the meta not to fit a hero, because maybe in the future season it's going to change and they get better because of the meta, right? So the reason why I'm saying this is when we go to their kits, especially if we go to Goresh's kit first, and I personally like Goresh more than the Skogul, because I actually think he's just easier to get online once you've got him. He's basically a mini Garwood without the heal. That's the best way of looking at him. He's giving you a nice 15% damage reduction, but then he has the Madeline steroid of the attack bonus, which is key because of his last skill. That's empowering this damage. And the cool thing about this skill is the fact that it is hitting 2 times per second, which is insane amounts of damage. Because it's a physical skill damage based factoring skill, and this is a physical attack bonus skill, you can imagine a Goresh with a Madeline is actually very powerful, because you gain a 70% increase in attack bonus, right? It's insane. You get so many stats, as plus the infantry counter-attack damage bonus, the defense bonus, and it's all in 2 skills that you get this, right? And then if you max out the 3rd skill, you're hitting them for the maximum amount of damage. You're good as golden. Because the same as the other heroes, you don't need this 4th skill, and this skill isn't too much, you know. You don't need the amount of stats here. It's not worth the amount of sculptures for a player. So I really like Goresh, and I think he's actually being underrated for him. He's actually really good. Honestly, really, really good. So I think right now the meta doesn't fit him. But the cool thing with Skogul is maybe I use her more, and maybe she's maybe a bit more viable in S2+. Is because I think a Skogul with a Garwood match would be highly viable. Because Skogul is really good because she, again, increases the amount of HP, and then she increases the amount of counter-attack damage she is dealing, which is very powerful, because when you pair this up with your Garwood that's increasing the physical damage dealt bonus whenever he's healed, he's obviously healing himself, but more importantly, Skogul will also heal him. Even though it's a 150 heal and it's not much, it's the triggering of effects that matter, and a lot of people don't realize this in Call of Dragons. So I think Skogul is actually going to be really okay. I think she's going to be good at 5-5-1-1. You're good as golden. You don't need to go too crazy, but the guys that do eventually awaken her are going to probably get a hero maybe in the long term, maybe a hidden investment, because she is a very strong hero because of the amount of stats she gives. But maybe you need another, you know, Garwood or Madeline hybrid tank to pair with the Skogul or Goresh in the future to make them really, really good. And that's what we obviously need to tailor some of these lists for, right? Because if you a Rise of Kingdoms player, you know this is exactly what happens in the game. They are heroes that come and replace heroes and even create brand new old school combinations with modern marches, which even is happening with Wu Zetian in Rise of Kingdoms right now, which is really crazy to think that a seasonal like KVK 1 hero is making a mark on the game, right? So just remember that. This is why we need to keep a more eye-opening approach to this tier list. Let's go into a more easier round now. We're going to go and finish up the last infantry hero, which I'm honestly kind of sad to see because I honestly love her, which is Nika. But Nika is going to drop down into the C. I can't put it in the C role. We'll put it in the B role. She's an okay infantry hero, right? She's okay. She's not terrible, right? But the problem is with Nika is she doesn't do anything in PvP, and that's why she suffers so badly, because the problem with Nika is she just deals so much damage, but she doesn't take any damage. That is the big issue, right? She is the glass cannon infantry hero, which is fair enough, and it's cool that we have one of those heroes, you know, that fulfills that need if a player ever wants to play her, right? But the problem is with her, even I don't have her awakened, like, I just don't think it warrants enough. You don't have enough damage, enough counterattack damage to actually take advantage of this hero's damage output, because she's just too squishy. Let's just be honest, guys. She's just too squishy. So, unfortunately, she basically went down to the B tier, and Garwood went into the S tier, and the meta of the super tanks has basically been defined, as you can see, and I think this is a really good showcase on how the infantry meta looks right now. So now let's finish things up. We've got our mage heroes. Let's go over the mage heroes, because you guys are probably wondering why I've not given them no love yet. But I'm going to go straight away with Velyn. I'm going to put Velyn, and some people are still surprised when I say this, but I still think Velyn is an S+ mage hero. Why? Because he's one of the heroes in the game compared to any of the other mages, aka Liliya at the moment, that actually is a future-proof hero. I'm not going to lie, if you guys, I don't know, you must be smoking something if you don't think this guy is the most future-proof mage hero in the game, because he does everything a mage wants, stat-wise, in anything, right? So you have a nice AoE nuke, great. He reduces the march speed even better, so you can chase them down and keep killing their units, great. And obviously we know his awakening synergizes with this, allowing him to deal 400 extra damage just to showcase it once they're frozen. So really cool little combination that he has in his own kit, that you can even pair with a wild deer and get even more maximum. Like, I lose to this. I lose to an awakened wild deer Velyn march with my Liliya and Velyn. I'm not even lying. I lose to it. That's how strong it is, right? So you get this Velyn already cracked out, and guess what? Your free passives are the best free passives you've won in a mage march. You get a nice amount of hero skill damage bonus and march speed bonus on top. So guess what? You can run away, you can reposition, you can do everything you need to do, and you hit even harder. On top of hitting even harder, we give you 10% crit rate bonus, so you can hit a little bit even harder 10% of the time, which is even nicer. Plus you get a nice 15% defense bonus. Again, really good stats for mages because they lack the defense and they need it. And then on top of it, you reduce the enemy's magic defense, and then on top of it, you also reduce their march speed by putting a freeze on them. So you apply a freeze through your passive, you also apply freeze through your main skill, allowing you to have 2 ways to trigger Snowblind no matter what as a hero, and every skill here is perfectly viable for open field. Do I have to say any more? Do we need to argue this any further? Why he's an S+ hero? And this guy, by the way, he's in the gold chests, so you're gonna get him, and you don't even need to invest sculptures into him. I haven't, and look at him, like, he's almost done, and he's one of the newest heroes in my eyes that I've had in the game since for a very long time. So definitely deserves his spot in the S+, and I'm gonna put Liliya, and Liliya, this is only now going for the spenders only, is in the S tier. as you can imagine. I think she's an S tier hero. I'm not gonna lie, she's definitely insane. This hero is obscene for the right reasons, because she is the queen of chaos, and she does the crazy laugh everyone loves, you know, in this game. But she does the most damage. That's the only reason why she is S tier. And if you can get her 5111, guess what? You're going to use her. You're actually going to use her, and you're going to use Liliya with your Alwyn, or Liliya with Waldia, Liliya, Velyn. You choose it, honestly, and you're going to get so much out of her, because she deals so much damage, even at 5111. The fact that she does a nice 1200 nuke and a burn effect for 5 seconds. And that burn effect's 1,000 skill damage, guys. 1,000 skill damage, right? And then the cool thing is, even at 51111, you can apply that burn to 2 surrounding enemies. So now you're dealing another 1,000 skill damage to 2 other enemies for 1 skill point. Yeah, it's 10% of the time, but it's still the fact that you get the opportunity to deal an obscene amount of damage for no reason. And then when you awaken this hero, it's even more crazy, because obviously you get all the stats, you get even higher probability, but then your skill now hits 2 guys, so you're hitting 2,400 damage and 50% chance to scorch them, which is even powerfuler, because then you're getting even more scorch triggers, which, yeah, it's crazy. So she's really good. The problem with Liliya is, as you can imagine, she has a peacekeeping talent and a peacekeeping skill tree, you know, so it isn't, it's just one of those where if, you know, the spenders can't get an insane hero, right, because that would be classified as a pay-to-win hero if this was you know, another insanely powerful skill, right? But she's definitely S. If you want to invest into her for the spenders, you can definitely go into that, and no one will hate you, right? So we're coming up to the last 6 heroes in the game. Let's finish up what I'm going to call the last mage hero in the game, and that is actually going to be your Theia. And at the moment, I'm going to keep Theia in the A tier. I'm going to put her, honestly, as the gatekeeper of A. I think she's the best A tier hero in the game if you're going to pair her up in like ranking order. Why? Because she does everything you kind of want, but the problem I have is the awakening. The awakening on Theia is one of the things that a lot of players think is very good, and it could have been very good, but it's not as good as you imagine. It's okay, but it's not as good as you imagine, right? So it's the fact that you grant a shield to 2 nearby friendly legions. But this, as they've put now in the newer updates, it includes Theia. So Theia gets one of the shields, and you put 1 shield on the other. It is a very cool effect. It's very good if you're running a Theia with, as you can imagine, the Atheist combo, because it's going to allow you to have a flying mage hero, and it opens up the fact that you can have your Liliya and Velyn together, and if they get the shield, then you get a nice little bit of hero skill damage bonus on top of them, right? Which is really cool. But that's all you're getting off it. I'm just being honest. It's not that insane. But the stats for this hero is really good. It's really good. You get an insane amount of stats overload. But the problem, as you can imagine, against the S heroes and some of the other heroes that we need to still go over, she does hero skill damage taken reduction, which is very good against mages. It's so goddamn good against mages, and it's actually not too bad against cavalry too, because they do a lot of skill damage. But archers just mince meat through you, and that's kind of the problem, because Theia is generally used a lot of the time with mage units. Even though you can use her, honestly, with anyone, she's honestly one of those heroes that you could work on, and maybe, you know, one of your heroes runs out of stamina and the other one doesn't. You can just use her instead, right, and start rocking this hero. So that's the kind of benefit of her, and that's why I'm going to keep her in the gatekeeper position. I think she's the best A hero in the game. She's fantastic for most players to use. You're going to have fun with her no matter where you use her, honestly. So definitely good. And she's a gold key hero again. So it's just another one. So now let's go to Forondil. And Forondil, I had a very, you know, I was back and forward on this hero for a long time. But the more I'm looking at it and the more I'm looking at the list, he definitely deserves to be a S plus hero in Call of Dragons. For cavalry players, I hands down think Forondil is the best cavalry hero in the entire game. I honestly just think he's the best cavalry hero in the entire game. And the reason why I think he's the best cavalry hero in the entire game is pretty simple. He gives you the most amount of flexibility in a hero. He has 4 skills that are all relevant no matter what. And when you awaken a hero, you're getting even more benefits on him that actually makes him insane when we show it, right? So his skill 1, you guys know, is the cowardice trigger. This is just absurd to watch in live action. You're watching your march, you're taking 2,000 damage, you're taking 2,000 damage, guess what? You're taking 800 damage for 3 seconds. It's insane the amount of damage this does negate. And this is on anything. And the fact that you get to do this on archer players like the Syndrions out there, it honestly keeps them in check. And I think in the future, there's going to be another hero similar to Forondil with this kind of gimmick, but instead of being more damage based, I reckon he's going to be a more tankier hero. And that's why at the moment, Bahkshi with Forondil is, I think, one of the better combos in the game. If you want to go all out damage, go for the Forondil with your Emrys. I'm not going to lie, you're going to slap people around with the amount of damage you're cycling through. You'll laugh. But when you go into like Forondil's kit, you get defense penetration to hit harder. You get the perfect skills that are stats that you want in any of the situations. You know, because you've got the talent tree. The talent tree gives you all of the stats that you need, and this is increasing the damage dealt on top of that. Then you get march speed, which is great. Then if you put him in the deputy slot, future-proofing, maybe there's a better new cavalry commander in the commander slot, you still reduce your rage skill by 50 and increase the skill damage by 10%, which is great. When you enter combat, you get that 40% attack bonus again, which is great. And then on top of this, and this is why I think it's even more insane when he's awakened, when you get him, you get a 50% chance to inflict 2 debuffs, meaning a 20% defense break and 20% march speed. And this is cracked. You're applying 3 different debuffs on a hero. And when you know the Berserker Ffraegar, the Berserker Ffraegar requires you to apply debuffs, and inflicting a cowardice is 2 stacks. So with one hero, you've now just done 4 of 9 debuffs for the Berserker Ffraegar, meaning when this Berserker Ffraegar goes to land its skill, it's going to do an insane amount of damage to them compared to before. So that's why I think it is honestly one of the better heroes in Call of Dragons, and he's the best cavalry, in my opinion, in the game. Maybe someone might argue it, who knows. But again, this is my opinion. This is why you watch the videos. This is why you enjoy watching, hopefully, this in-depth analysis on the game. So we'll run the last 4. And the last 4 consists of, as you can imagine, Theodore, Kinnara, Indis, and Hosk. So Theodore we'll talk about first to finish off the cavalry, so you guys know where he's at. I'm going to put Theodore in the A category right next to Bahkshi. I actually just think they are just as good as each other. They are technically made for each other almost, I would say. But honestly, these 2 guys are pretty much the same. They do a nice amount of HP reduction, you know, so you, instead of gaining HP, you're reducing the HP. You're gaining a nice amount as well of stats for your account, your cavalry, but the problem is you're gaining a stronghold based effect for your calves. But is this awakening worth it? Probably if you're a, you know, again going for a cavalry play style, because when you look at that you know, awakening skill, you are going to gain basically a 25% less normal taken attack damage, which is very powerful against archer players and most players, right? It's a quarter basically damage reduction on what they're dealing. So it is very powerful in that, but I wouldn't recommend pumping it in. I think a 5 and then a 5-1-1 again, you're actually good to go. And if you can get him 5-5-1-5, you don't need to go any further. You're good as golden, and you can pretty much go nuts with this hero, and you're going to get the maximum out of him. But I do think that other heroes like Emrys and Forondil, you would rather awaken them knowing that you're actually getting a 4th skill that you're using and an awakening that's an additional skill and giving you, you know, some sort of advantage in the game, right? So now we come to Kinnara. Kinnara, if you don't know, guys, you've been sleeping under a rock. I think she's the best hero in the game still. I just think she's insane. She just does everything you want as an archer. Let's just put it that way. She has everything as an archer player wants. She deals really good damage. She has all the defensive capabilities she needs. She has access to 3 of the best trees you need for the archers as well. Like, do I have to keep going? Like, it's insane, this hero. 1400 damage factor and reduce the enemy's total all damage dealt by 15%. It's so goddamn strong. And then against mages, guess what? And you got that 10% hero skill damage taken reduction and that normal attack damage steroid. You've got an attack damage steroid here. On top of that, a physical counter attack damage dealt bonus against those targets, as well as a march speed reduction. And then on top of it, you will always basically defense break them, because in 1 in 5 chances, you will break their defense. That's basically what it's saying. Every 1 in 5 auto attacks, you will inflict a defense break on the target legion, reducing their defense by 20% for 3 seconds. And that is so goddamn strong for cavalry, for archer players, shall I say. It allows you to just mincemeat players, and it allows you to do some insane combinations with Kinnara. You can do Kinnara with Hosk, you can do Kinnara with Syndrion, you can do Kinnara with Ffraegar, you can do Kinnara Nico, like Kinnara with Craig. Like, legit, it's so goddamn good how strong Kinnara is. That's why she's the top of the top right now. Until someone beats her in the archer category, which is going to be, I think, quite hard. I think she definitely deserves that spot in the top hierarchy in the game, right? We're in the last 2 heroes, and Hosk is one where I'm going to put in the specialist role. Yes, he's not going to get ranked in anything. Why? Because he's a specialist hero. I don't care what anyone says. If you were going to put this guy against other heroes, if you could obtain him, he would definitely be like an A-class hero. Not any higher, he would definitely be an A-class hero. But he's not obtainable to every player in the game. Hosk is only obtainable if you've hit, I believe, if I remember rightly, VIP 10, and then 11, 12, and it goes upwards, right? I might be wrong. I might be quoting the wrong VIP. Someone will correct me in the comments below. But you're locked behind VIP to get this hero, and it's even worse than that. It's actually so expensive to get him. You need to spend 20 bucks and then 50, and I think it's 99.99 to max this guy out. So it's a lot of money to get him done. And that is the one thing with Hosk. Hosk is a specialist hero because you will only use Hosk, and I'm going to be honest, as an awakened hero. At 5111, I have tried and tried, guys. I've tried my hardest to make this hero work. I have tried different talent trees. I've tried him in different pairings. I've tried him in the commander slot. I've tried him in the deputy slot. I just don't think he is warrant the 20 bucks compared to Liliya for like 10 or 15 bucks. She's way better for a hero investment. But when you awaken Hosk and you have him fully awakened, that's when it's different, because you get the counter attack crit rate, which is something that people don't actually realize is goddamn strong in the right marches. Especially when you have as well increased Legion cap, which is really strong, because increasing your Legion cap means you're dealing more damage as a base. Because if you don't know, the more troops you have, obviously the more damage you deal, right? And then on top of this, you have as well this beautiful defense bonus or normal attack bonus where you put it, right? So you have all these stats when you max out your hero. And because of that, like, when you have him, you, as you heard with Kinnara, can make a very specialist build. You can make a Kinnara Hosk build. And this honestly is devastating. If you're playing Kinnara on Hosk and a mage player touches you, they literally cry. They will fall over and cry. They do so much damage back to them because of the physical counter-attack damage bonus. Plus because of then all the steroids you're gaining from the Hosk. That's why he's in the specialist. I don't think he's actually going to be rated. I would not rate this hero any other way because I can't value him that way. I think he's only valued as a specialist role, and that's how you should look at him. So maybe you guys might disagree. Maybe you'll put him where you want to put him, but I will put him in the specialist role. Maybe you can argue he's an A-class hero or B-class hero, but for me, he's staying there. That's his role. Now, we're on the final hero, and you're probably wondering where we're going to put her, and this is Indis, the one and only, the Sage of Order, and she's going to be completing this tier list, and I'm not going to lie, I'm honestly putting her in the A tier right now. And I am scared to see this hero when she's awakened. Because I am one of the only players in the alliances that are kind of working on Indis. I'm not going to lie. You look at my Indis above here. She's 5354. She's almost 3 skills from being completion, right? So you can see we've only just recently done her, right? But the thing is with Indis, I think she's falling victim to the same unfortunate circumstances Ffraegar went through at the start of the game. Where at the start of the game, you didn't care about Ffraegar because she did this weird area of effect damage. It didn't do much damage. But she applies 3 debuffs, which is super powerful. The later Rise of Kingdoms got, which people realize, and obviously now is highly sought off, right? Ffraegar is one of the best free-to-play heroes in the entire game. And I think Indis is the same. I'm not going to lie. If you actually subjectively look at Indis, she is insanely powerful for a hero. She has a ability that allows her to heal 350 troops every second for like 2 seconds or something, but will increase when you awaken her. So it's a 700 heal, but you apply a debuff where the enemy take 20% extra damage from all sources, which is insane. And then when you look at the other stats, they're all tanking stats. 20% HP plus another 7.5 maximum Legion capacity, which is the exact same as you can imagine, what you've got here with Madeline. But the difference is you got 15% infantry unit HP, right? Here you've got the 10% physical damage bonus and 15k. So you've literally gained a similar buff, but with 20% HP. It's absurd how much stats you're getting from this one hero. I mean, on top of this, which I think is actually crazy, you cut in half by 50% the amount of counterattack damage taken, which is crazy. So I think when she is awakened, we're going to start seeing maybe an awaken, maybe in this match in the future, especially when there's more mage heroes in the game where you can support that playstyle, because you're going to be able to deal way much more damage if you can apply, you know, a 20% damage increase buff onto the enemy, and your main match, like your Lilias and your Velyn, will be hitting 20% extra for free. Like, why would you not want that, right? And the fact that this buff is even bigger and it lasts for 3 seconds, guys, she might be a sleeper. So that's why I'm honestly putting in this, and I've rated her fairly because I've honestly been using her a lot. I'm gonna put her in the A tier, and I've been using her with everything. I've used her with infantry, I've used her with archers, I've used her with cavalry. I've tried her with mages, and she's okay with the mages. I'm not gonna lie, but I've loved her way more with cavalry or with infantry. Like, I'm not gonna lie, she's such a good hero in those roles. Like, so that is gonna be my season 2 plus honest, like, ratings. Those are gonna be the best heroes, I think, in season 2, season 2 plus, and the current state of Call of Dragons. Because each of these heroes, as you've noticed, as we spoke about them, have really good kits. Some are better than others, and then at the same time, other kits just have way more value compared to the others, right? So I hope that makes sense. I hope you've enjoyed it. That is it. If you want to go through it again, you can go back through. If you want anything, smash a comment below. And until then, hit the sub button, hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe, stay sneaky. Peace out.